Good morning, everyone. Hi, how you doing this morning? Oh my gosh, okay, so we're just checking all the little things here, and so interesting when everything comes on. Okay, so anyways, so this morning we're gonna do a few different different things. Oh my God, I always just, it's like this starting up everything, just going on. I don't know how they do it on the real videos or whatever, but it's like, okay, is everything ready? Maybe because I'm doing it all by myself. Anyways, welcome. Good morning. And so we're going to start with cutting onions, and then I'll tell you what we're doing with them after. I keep looking at this because it's really steaming and smoking, and it's brand new. So I hadn't turned it on before, which I probably should have done that, before, because the element is like smoking like crazy, and I'm tempted to turn the fan on, but that'll just make a bunch of noise for you guys. And so anyways, yeah, so that's where we're at with that. So we're gonna cut up these onions, and we're gonna start with that, and I'm definitely shaking the table quite a bit here. And so just slicing up some onions, and for the people that don't usually watch, I usually try and describe a little bit about the foods that we're working with. And so the onions are anti-inflammatory. They are antihistamine, and that's why they make you cry. So if you did have an issue with an allergy or something, and you had nothing else, and you really needed to clear your sinuses, cutting up a good strong onion will usually do that for you. And the yellow onions work the best for that type of thing, for the antihistamine properties. Works better than a red or white onion, sweet onion. So the yellow ones work better. So these are yellow onions. We're just going to put together a little recipe, and I have an abundance of onions, because pretty much, hey, good morning, Darlene, hi. Yeah, so we're cutting up onions, and so I had an abundance of onions because I did, I've been doing really big shoppings, which for me, really big. I mean, I guess, I don't know, but I guess a lot of people kind of, if you're like me, you'd run to the store every 2-3 days if you forgot something, or wanted to make something different. And so because we're not really doing that, or not supposed to be doing that, or I haven't been doing that. Hey Jane, hi, good morning. So anyway, so I had bought like 10 pounds of onions, which I normally never do, and I do use a lot of onions, but I haven't been using them fast enough. So this particular recipe is really good for if you have an abundance of onions that are just starting to go, and getting a little bit, soft or whatever. Of course, if there's any blemish or any mold, on the ends, or any dark spots or anything, you need to compost them. You don't want to use them. But if they're just starting to soften up a bit, this is a recipe that's really good, and really interesting for putting the onions to use. And so also, what we're gonna do, actually, I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're going to fry these up like fried onions, which are, super yummy, and a little bit caramely. And then what I'm going to do is dehydrate them after, and they make really amazing snacks. So the little onion skins are sticking everywhere. And so yeah, so this is part of my food prep for the for the fall. And I think that honestly, the more you watch the news and everything else that's going on, Oh, I left a little bit too big of a skin on there. Always wash your hands before you start, and I always wash my vegetables before I start too. I just had too much skin on it. So yeah, so if you've been watching, if you've been watching the news, yeah, right, like anybody's been watching the news or Facebook or whatever, I've been really working with ideas for preserving for the, because this year's the first and best year of my garden. Actually, I had a really good year last year, thanks to Alexandra Loophole. I took her class with the Cosmic Gardening class, and it was awesome. It really helped me a lot, because I've had, I have a little bit of an issue with, because we live in the woods, in the forest, and there are a lot of huge trees around my garden, and they're fir trees. So I think that they tend to make the soil acidic. And so I've had to replace my soil a lot and have it tested and everything. And so I've had a lot of problems in the past with having a really good garden. But thanks to Alexandra, and if you want her information on the Cosmic Garden course, it's a little course. It's super inexpensive, and it's really great information. And she actually came here and taught it live as well. And so since then, I don't know how I missed the outer layer of the edges of the onions. Yeah, since then I've had a pretty decent garden last year, and it's coming along really good this year. So, so I'd like to have an abundance of food to preserve, because honestly, I did. You told, Jane suggested getting the iRock frying pan, and because I didn't have I've been using stainless steel, which is awesome, but there are certain things that like to stick to stainless steel. And so I did go and get it, and I really do like it, and it got the deep edges for the onions. Like, you could just pile onions on, but this is all I have. So anyways, yeah, back to the preserving and the, for the fall. So if you don't have a big garden, we're just going to cook these up. I've got it on high here, and then I'll tell you what we're doing in a couple minutes. But we should really be trying to preserve, and if you don't have a big garden, support your local farmers and your people at the farmers market, and because you want to store food for this winter, because I don't know, I mean, people are crazy, and myself included. I mean, like the whole toilet paper thing was just like, I mean, who knows what's next? So what I heard, this is what I heard. As you know, I'm not much of a baker, so so I don't usually investigate this kind of thing because I don't make bread. But I heard that like the stores are out of yeast, and so it's really hard to get yeast for baking and bread and all those kinds of things. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, so these little cycles are going through with whatever it is that people think that they really need, and they're tending to buy it up, right? So I think that I think that we should be paying attention to what we really like and enjoy, and maybe buy extra. So if you're going out to buy cocoa, for instance, instead of one, buy two. Just because you never know, right? What's going to happen and what we might run out of. And so I'm just looking at the anyway, I always have issues with the little comments thing, but anyway, we're on. So anyways, yes, so my suggestion is to buy in bulk. So if you are going to buy potatoes from your local farmer, support them and buy 2 or 3. Or one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a bunch of beets. I'd like to share, it's the secret beet recipe for pickled beets, but they're not, it's like a friend of mine calls them sweet beets. It's amazing, handed down by my grandmother, and it's a super awesome recipe. So yeah, so I'm thinking now, I need to put an order in so I have enough beets, because I don't know, maybe there'll be a beet shortage. Anyway, think about that. Think about having things on hand that make you feel good and make you comfortable. And for, you know, for me, it's like a lot of dried goods and stuff, and making sure we have things like beans and rice and that kind of thing, and onions. Okay, so I am going to add a little olive oil to this, because I do kind of want to cook it down. As you know, if you've watched me before, I don't use oil very often. And if you look at all my videos on YouTube, yeah, it's not too much. And when I do, it's usually a little bit of coconut oil. So we're just going to put these on, and we're going to like saute them down. That's going to take a while. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make this super awesome nacho sauce. And so I have a can of, it's a can of tomatoes. It's a can of diced tomatoes. Every once in a while I just draw a blank. And I have my other cool little heater here. I have 2 heaters now. We're coming up in the world. And so I'm going to put this in with, I cooked a little bit of butternut squash for this particular recipe. So it's kind of like a spicy nacho sauce that you can use that's dairy-free, you know, meaning cheese-free. And so butternut squash, I know it's not really squash season yet, but I managed to find this little guy. I don't know if somebody grew him in a greenhouse or what, but I found a little butternut squash, and they have like the butternut squash especially has lots of has a lot of calcium in it, and it's got, you know, like most of the well, it's not really cruciferous, it's a squash, but anyways, it's got vitamin A and vitamin C. Actually, it has a lot of vitamin C in it, and so anyways, and also potassium. So squashes are really good, and I'm so excited because I actually have a little tiny baby squash. I mean, I'm sure the rest of you real gardeners have, you know, good sized squashes by now, but I have a little baby squash, and he's about 3 inches long. I'm super excited. So, okay, so we're gonna give this a stir, and we're gonna add the squash. So I've got like a heaping cup of squash. We're gonna throw it in Vitamix, and we are going to throw half this can of tomatoes because I thought I would have more squash, but I don't. So I'm just going to use half of this because I don't want it to be too overpowering with the diced tomatoes. So I'm just going to throw in half that. And you guys can't really see it, but anyway, it's going into the Vitamix. And the other thing, is I'm going to put half an onion, half a fresh onion. So we're going to, and I know this sounds really weird for a, I'll cut it like this. I'm regrowing the ends of the onions. I'm putting them in the garden, and yeah, I'm like having so much fun with the whole, creating more food thing, and really being conscious of not throwing away the bits and pieces, and taking all of the you know, the skins, like the leaves, like the leaves of the cauliflower, you know, saving that for soup stock, and saving all the ends and all the pieces that you would normally compost, you know, if they're still good and they're edible, like it makes fantastic broth. So, okay, so we have, oh, did I just throw it? Where did I put that? Where did I put the other onion? I just threw it in the pile. Okay, I need that. I'm in the middle of doing something else besides stirring those onions. I need to be dealing with this onion. Oh my gosh, okay. So many things. Okay, so I've got pretty much, I don't know if I used the right end. I got pretty much half an onion here, a small onion. We're going to blend this, and Jewel's asking, hey Jewel, hey, hi. What's the best way of storing beets and potatoes? You know, yours go bad all the time. I just keep them in where it's cool, you know, and it all depends, right? You can't, in the summer I keep them in the basement because it's cool. In the winter we have the wood stove going, so I can't keep them there. It's too warm. And so I put them in the garage, house garage. And so, you know, they just, I don't know, they just stay. You know, sometimes when it's really hot, I'll put my potatoes in the fridge. And I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but I do that in the summer. So if anybody else has suggestions, I don't know. I mean, you just cool, dark place with air so they can breathe, because beets will last a really long time. Like, I don't know. I've never had a beet go bad. Yeah, I don't know. You guys will have to write in if you know, whoever you know that knows for sure. Because honestly, I just share what I know about, I just share. I'm a certified herbalist, but I'm not a professional cook at all. I know a lot about nutrition, and I just make 15-minute fast, healthy, easy meals, and people have asked me to share what I do, and that's what we're doing. So, so if any of you professional experts on food and storage want to respond, that would be super awesome, and then I'll know too. Okay, so we're going to blend this up, and yeah, that's where we're at. I remember now. Okay, let's go. Handy dandy Vitamix that just won't die. Okay, so this is just a, you guys can see it okay. It's just a pot with a little bit of water in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to put the sauce in here. And I was, this is the first time I've tried to do it with, you guys, you'll know I'm not professional now. This is the first time I've tried to do it with 2 burners at once, and I actually should have moved that burner over here so you guys can see it better. But knowing how I tend to have things fall over in my little space here, I'm not going to pick up that hot burner and move it over for you to see it. So I'm going to cook it over here and then I'll show you, okay? Apologize for that. I will get better placing the 2 things and the cutting board and the everything else. Okay, so we're going to, this is, I'll show you here. Okay, so this is butternut squash, half a can, whatever, small, like 225 mils of diced tomatoes, and half an onion. So we're going to put this in here, okay? And believe it or not, you guys, this is a nacho sauce. So I'm going to use my thing here. And, okay, so I'll set that there. So what we're going to do with this to make it more of a nacho sauce, we are also going to add a teaspoon, a level teaspoon of paprika. Okay, I don't happen to have had a level teaspoon here, so I'm gonna make it a third of a tablespoon. For you guys that know, I don't usually have the right equipment or know how to measure. Okay, we're gonna throw that in. Okay, so we're gonna do that. And because I do like my nacho sauce a little bit spicy, I'm going to add some cayenne. So to taste, you know, you really need to cook to taste. And okay, so we have an answer. Yay! We have an answer for the beets and the potatoes. Buy the potatoes and the beets in the fall, put them in paper bags, and put them in a cool, dark place. Okay, so the paper bags. And make sure that make sure none of them are starting to spoil. You need to check them, because one bad potato can spoil the bunch, or one bad apple, one bad beet can spoil the bunch. So check on them. So thank you for that. Yeah, I personally have never had a problem, so I've never had to investigate that. So you know, for Jewel, it could be just where you're storing it. You know, maybe there's not enough ventilation. Maybe it's too warm. Okay, so back to the nacho sauce. We're going to add, what are we going to do first? Okay, let's see how hot this is. I'm going to turn it up, and this is a new thing, so I have no idea how hot it gets, how fast. I'm not used to cooking with it, so we're all in this together. And okay, so I am going to add, I have a little bit of lime juice, and I was so lucky. See, that's one of the things. I don't know if it was last summer or the summer before. There's a whole bunch of limes on sale, and I got a huge big bag of limes. And so I juiced them all, and I froze them. And so this is a little bit of pure lime juice, no additives, no anything. And so I just defrosted it. You can freeze it in ice cubes. Like anytime you get a lot of juice like that, or a lot of whatever it is that you get on sale, it's another way of really preserving food for the future. So I have my little bit of lime juice here. So that's like a tablespoon. I don't want this nacho sauce to be too limey, so I'm not going to add the whole thing, even though it defrosted into this much. I'm going to add a little more than I wanted to. Okay, so a tablespoon and a splash. Okay, so we're boiling, which is good. I'm not sure, but I think this thing works pretty good. Okay, we're going to turn it down to number 3. This one has a white control on it, and I can't read it anyway because I can't see the numbers. So this one's nice because it has black with big white numbers, so I can actually see what's going on. Okay, I might not use this anymore because it might get a little too hot. So we're going to use the wooden spoon. Okay, so this is good. This is where I wanted it. You bring this to a little bit of a simmer once you understand how your heat is, and then you take 2 tablespoons. Okay, here I am. I kind of pre-did this for you a bit. A half a cup of water with a half of the, I didn't bring it out to show you, but the vegetable bouillon cubes that we get at Healthy Habits, the little vegetable bouillon, they're vegan. And so I've got a half a vegetable cube in here with a half a cup of water, and the water's cold, right? So we can add our 2 tablespoons of, this time I'm using flour. As you guys know, I usually use tapioca starch because I'm not a fan of using flour. But in this case, I find it gives it a little bit more of a, depth, a little bit more richness. I'm going to turn that down again. Okay, so I'm going to go with, I should maybe make these level. I don't usually measure, but in this case, I'm gonna attempt it 2 kind of sort of level tablespoons. Oh my God, 2 things at once, you guys. This second little burner might not have been the best idea. Let's see how talented I am. And okay, so we're stirring the flour with the, you know what? I've got one of these things here. Works better. Can you see that? Okay, so we're going to use this, and we're just putting the flour in with the veggie broth in the half a cup, and this is going to thicken this up, and this is adding the veggie broth to the butternut squash with the butternut squash with the tomatoes with the onion. And oh, there's a little piece of squash that didn't get blended. That's okay. It'll just taste different on the nachos. Okay, so we stir, stir, stir. And I'm definitely going to have to learn how to move this over here because I'm not left-handed. And you guys watch that pot while I check these onions. Okay. The onions are cooking down, and we don't want them, I don't really want them brown, but I want them cooked, like a little bit caramelized. So I might add just a touch more oil. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. And I haven't really cooked with an IROC frying pan before either, so you guys get to check all this stuff out. I think I really like it though, but that one onion got dark, but then I'm trying to do 2 things at once too. Okay, so, okay. All right, we're good. Okay, so I added the veggie broth. We're going to add some we're going to add some nutritional yeast, and so this is going to give it the cheesy flavor. You guys have seen me cook with nutritional yeast lots. It has the B vitamins. It's really good for the, oh my God, it's good for so many things that, it's good for so many things that I can't remember them all. Sometimes I just, you know, I was, oops, throwing it around. I was really kind of fog brain this morning, which is unusual for me, or is it? I thought, wow, you know, I wonder what's going on. And so you have to kind of look at, you know, I don't know. I'm not into astrology. I mean, I'm into it. I love it, but I don't understand it. I'm not professional in that way. And so I wondered what's going on, because I was kind of like, you know, couldn't really get my brain together this morning. And so I had a glass of ginkgo. So ginkgo biloba. So you guys know it's a herb, and so I had a glass of ginkgo tea, because it really facilitates the brain function. Really, really good for the brain, good for, brings oxygen to the brain. It's been used for cases of Alzheimer's and all kinds of different stimulation of opening up the brain blood vessels and stuff. So I better have some more. Anyway, I don't know if anybody else was foggy. And then, you know, again, it could have been just what I watched last night with the goings on in the world right now. It's enough to give anybody want to take a brain break. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these onions, I am going to add a little bit of water, because I really don't like how they are getting a little too brown for my taste. You know, you're not supposed to eat anything burnt, and they aren't burnt, but they're a little too brown. Okay, so the whole idea with this, I'm not going to tell you yet, because it's a secret. I'll tell you in a minute when I get these cooked down more. Oh, they're hiding behind the lid. Okay. I didn't know there were ones that aren't really that cooked that well. Okay, so back to this nacho sauce. Okay, so the nutritional yeast will make it cheesy, and it will also thicken it. So I'm going to add more. And then again, you know, you just have to do things to taste. If I kept this, depending on what you would want to do, if you want it thicker, you can add a little bit more flour to it if you wanted that to thicken it. But I personally prefer for the nutritional yeast, because it will thicken things, and it has that really amazing cheesy flavor. So, so I probably, how much did I add before? Another heaping tablespoon. I think I added 2 heaping tablespoons, or maybe 3. I hope you guys were counting, because I wasn't. And so we're going to add this and just get that going into this sauce. So, oh yeah, we're going to need a little bit of salt as well. So we're going to add some Celtic Sea Salt. And I'm going to give it another stir, and then we're going to taste it. Okay. Oh, I am going to, just because I want it to have a little bit of the slidiness of a melted cheese. So I am going to add just a little bit of olive oil, to probably a tablespoon. Just so that it's got that, you know, a little bit of a slidey texture to it. Okay, and I am going to have to use this again, because I want to get all that nutritional yeast off the edges. Okay, so basically the whole thing is I'm going to just keep that on simmer and until it gets thicker. And so so that's it. And I will, oops. It just keeps wanting to go in there. Okay, let's leave you out for a minute. What I'm going to do for you guys, oh, 2, that makes it 3. So 3 heaping tablespoons nutritional yeast, and to taste, right? You know, I tend to work intuitively. I'm not much of a taster. I don't know why, but I almost never taste things until right before I serve them. And then, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that could have used a little more of this or that. And I don't know why, so I am trying to break that habit and taste while I'm cooking because it's probably better for everybody. Wait, if I do that. So I'm going to give this a little taste. Just see if, and I want to know if it's spicy enough because I didn't add that much cayenne. Oh, you know what? I'm going to add some turmeric to it because you can. Oh, it's getting the bite. It's getting the bite. It took a minute. Yeah, okay, so we have probably the exact right amount of cayenne. And I am going to add a little bit of turmeric because why not? Turmeric is good for you. You guys are used to me adding it to almost everything I do. And especially since that's already, it's already orangey yellow, you're not going to notice the color. And turmeric has curcumin in it. It's anti-inflammatory, very good for you. Whenever you add turmeric, you always want to add pepper to activate it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that is getting cheesier. And you know what? The other thing is, oh, you know what's a good idea? Because I'm thinking it needs another cheese, and I don't just want to fill it up with nutritional yeast. You know what's a really good idea? But I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to ruin this stuff. So hang on. I'm gonna use something that we made last week. I'm trying to think of when. Okay, hang on. Okay, our fantastic plant-based Parmesan that we made last week. So the one that it's just cashews, nutritional yeast, and then I added to it sunflower seeds. So I am going to take this off the heat because the nuts are raw. This is probably about as cheesy. You know, I might heat it up again before I serve it just to thicken it up a bit. But to show you guys, I don't really want to heat the raw nuts because this is a, and this will thicken it up too. It's raw pumpkin seeds and raw cashews, so I don't want to overheat it. And so I'm just going to add some of this, and that's going to make it super cheesy and also nutty because I can see the little bits of the sunflower seeds. That's going to be super awesome. Okay, that'll add a really nice flavor to the nachos too. And you know what? It is still, I don't really want to heat it again, so I am going to add just a little bit more flour and water. You know, I don't know why you guys like hanging out with me because I wing it, and it's just so fun. Yeah, mock Parmesan. It's just so much fun. Okay, we'll get this back in here because that's still pretty hot. Okay, if you want it, okay, so here's if you like a thicker texture, this is how you do it. Oh my God, okay, a little more flour, a little more water. I told you I had brain fog today, honestly. Okay, a little more. We're just adding a little more, that's all, just a little more. Okay, and giving that a stir, okay, and that is thickening up. Because it's still really hot. So can you guys see? It's getting thicker. Okay. So what I'll do, because this is still a little bit warm, I'll just set it on there and then I'll leave it turned off just so that that extra flour can thicken it. But I just want to show you that really thickened it back up, right? Or back up. It thickened it up. Didn't thicken it back up. Okay. Oh my God, you guys. Okay. So that's a super healthy nacho cheese, cheeseless. And you're getting your tomatoes. So your tomatoes are so important. Like Dr. Michael Greger says, that tomatoes are, cooked tomatoes are really good for the prostate. And they're also really good for menopause. And so there's been a lot of studies with that showing that it reduces the inflammation in the body as well. So we have a half a can of cooked tomatoes. And so you're addressing different different nutrition. You've got your cayenne, which is good for circulation. It's good for opening up the blood vessels. It's good for facilitating every function in the body. So you've got your cayenne, you have your onion, which is anti-inflammatory. You have your butternut squash, which we talked about, has vitamin A, vitamin C, really good source of iron as well. So you've got your squash in here. And then paprika, I actually don't know what paprika does for you. Probably the same thing any pepper does, vitamin C, you know, probably. And then a nutritional yeast, which has huge benefits with the vitamin Bs and all that kind of thing. Super important to provide B vitamins and so much more. And then we've got, like, how can you go wrong with raw pumpkin seeds, raw cashews. And so it's a super, you've almost got, like, I don't know, you know, half of your requirement of vegetables as well as nuts and seeds. And so, yeah, and so it is thickening up. I don't have the heat on, it's completely off. And so that's like the healthiest nacho sauce that you could make. So, yeah. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so the secret. I'm going to tell you the secret. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to watch this for quite some time. This will take probably 45 minutes to really break down. So I want these caramelized down to basically strings, like little strings of onions. And when I do that, what I'm going to add for the secret ingredient is I'm going to add balsamic vinegar. And not very much, because I don't have that many onions, so I'm just going to add like a teaspoon. It's a brand new bottle. So I'll add a teaspoon of the balsamic and or maybe a small tablespoon. I don't know. I just opened this balsamic, so I'm not sure how strong it is. But my intuition is saying to add an even flat level tablespoon. And that's a small tablespoon. It's not a professional measuring unit. Okay, a little bit of balsamic. I'm going to mix this in. And let these guys cook down. And then what we'll do, of course I'll taste a few. I'll taste a few. I'll taste a few and then I'll, excuse me, I'll have some water. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to taste a few when they're finished, and then we're going to dehydrate them, and I'll let you know how they turn out. I don't know if they'll dehydrate enough overnight, so oh yeah, there's tomorrow. I forgot about that. Tomorrow's a holiday. Apparently I'm not supposed to be working tomorrow because it's a holiday. I don't think this is work though. This is so much fun. I really enjoy having you guys here. It's just really become a really fun thing to do every day, but I guess I need to listen to the words of wisdom from other people of not doing this tomorrow. So I'll miss you. See you guys on Thursday, and what we will do is we'll see how these turned out. And yeah, so dehydrated, they're supposed to taste like candy, and I'm sure that they will. I haven't quite done it like this before, so we'll find out. It's always an experiment, and it's always a lot of fun. And so thank you guys for joining. And you know, this is kind of like you know, more of an exotic thing to do. Definitely try and make that nacho sauce, because you know, you could use it on different things too. You could use it on rice. I'm going to taste it again, just see. But I think you could probably use it on, let's see, other things. We could use that on pasta. That's very good. So, for sure, better for you than cheese, and try it. See you guys. See you on Thursday at 11.